Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. I am your host, Bruce Wayne, except I come from an alternate reality where I stayed for the entire movie, my parents didn't get killed, and Alfred really liked baking sweets. Tonight, we are going to talk about Loki, Episode 4. But before we get into that, I want to announce that I am going to be on vacation next week, so there won't be any live shows, but there will be new shows. I have gone through over the last couple days and pre-recorded some interviews with some amazing folks. Tuesday will be Bobby Nash, author. We'll be talking to him. Wednesday will be Emily McGinnis and Dan Bridges for their book, The Zombie Game, which is a fascinating idea. Also, you'll find out how Dan became Kiefer Sutherland's stunt double. On Thursday, we have an interview with America's Tom Zoller, the writer and artist of Love and Capes. And a special Friday episode, I'm told, is going to be an interview with the artist who worked with me on The Freeze, Philip Sevy, who also did Tomb Raider and the book Triage over at Dark Horse. So that'll be the lineup for next week. There will be a Pop Go the Writers this Saturday with Jamal Eigel as our guest, but there won't be a new one Sunday on my YouTube channel, which means there won't be one next Saturday. There'll be a repeat. But since there isn't a new Pop Goes the Writer this Sunday, and there was so just absolute insanity in the new episode of Loki, I convinced Paul Story, my partner on Pop Go the Writers, to come join us tonight for our spoiler conversation. So, Paul, come on in.
Hello, I'm Mike O'Kane. I mean,
Hello,
Alfred.
Paul.
Some men just want to see the scones burn.
Yes, they do. We should do the whole thing.
Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
That's right. Welcome to Thursday night on the air.
It's a very odd feeling.
I can understand that. It's very odd for me, too, that I'm on 5 days a week. Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, you're fine until it's 8 days of the week and whoever owns the Beatles catalog comes after you.
Yeah. I did get asked the other day if I wanted to expand the Dan Wickline Show to do more days. I'm like, I'm not sure if I have that much time in my life, but I have to think about it. All right.
I think you just have to add days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, if there are 9 days in the week, I'll do a couple extra. Anyway, Carry on.
Yeah, I do this show 3 times a week, and then I do In-Stores This Week with Kyle on Tuesday nights. It's like, I guess I could do Monday if I just stopped sleeping.
Overrated.
Absolutely. All right, so before we get started, we have a fun little spoiler graphic here that we like to run just to make sure people know we're going to be talking spoilers. So, JD, if you will. We thought we'd go subtle with that. What do you think?
I think it was a little understated.
Yeah, but we'll work on it. Maybe by the time I get back, we'll have something a little more grandiose.
Yeah.
So, all right, going into the episode, we had Sylvie. I keep wanting to call her Sophie because that's her real name.
Yeah.
Sylvie and Loki on Lamentus 1 about to die. And I was kind of convinced that Loki or Sylvie or someone had done something and we were in somebody's head. Nope. No, not at all.
I think they might have set us up to think that, but man, the swerve, and it was like somebody going down a slalom course this week. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, didn't see that coming. Oh, didn't see that coming. Oh.
Yeah. They were rescued by love.
Well, I might classify it as lust.
Or the most narcissistic masturbation ever.
Yeah.
I was very fascinated by the fact that we see the sacred timeline, and it's perfectly clear. We're not even dealing with all the bombs that Sylvie.
They managed to snip all those.
Oh yeah, they took care of those. There was no problem. Yeah, barely an inconvenience. But it did bring me to a thought, and I want to get your opinion on this. Are we being a little too simplistic here, thinking the sacred timeline is a single timeline? Could there be multiple timelines or multiple versions, but what the TVA is doing is making all of them have the same events? Because we're getting all these different Lokis and all these different versions, and all they're doing is they're resetting the timeline, and it's almost like they may be going in going, oh, this varied from what we want it to be, reset it back to where it was, and we'll move it forward, manipulating it to be what we want it to be.
It's difficult because then you're getting into the question of, technically what is the timeline, the multiverse. They kind of describe it as having multiple timelines, but then there's the question of dimensions, and it's hard to see how we have not gotten a clear definition of the Marvel cosmology sufficient to differentiate between dimensions and does every timeline have multiple dimensions within it? So my answer is maybe.
Because basically, if you're born not looking like, if you're a Loki and you're born not looking like Tom Hiddleston, does that automatically make you a variant? It makes you less attractive, but does it make you?
I don't. I'd argue that. I know there are many women who will come down on me for this, but I think that Sophie is more attractive than Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, possible. So,
I
know some people who find Richard E. Grant very attractive.
And alligators. Gotta love them.
True. They're very popular in Florida.
Yes. Right up until they come at you.
Yeah. Do we think the alligator Loki or Loki Gator is some kind of response to Throg, the Frog of Thunder?
I absolutely assume that.
Do you think we'll get Throg?
I would not have picked an alligator as
if they're staying in the reptilian family.
Yes, but they're a snake maybe.
But a snake would be too on the nose.
Yeah, but it's not very. I don't know. I don't think of them as clever or trickstery.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe
a scorpion.
Scorpion. Oh, boy, that scorpion definitely describes Loki.
Yeah.
Why did you, especially with the parable?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Loki being the scorpion, Thor being the frog.
Yeah. So what did you think of the time cell and our special guest?
I loved seeing Jamie Alexander, and boy, like these timekeepers don't mess around. The TVA. We're just going to run through a memory where you just constantly get kneed in the balls, just over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's cruel and unusual.
Could you imagine that conversation? Hey, Jamie, yeah, we'd like you to come back and play Sif. It's a short scene, but you get a punch Tom, and then you get a knee him in the groin. You're there. Okay, well, great, thank you. Yeah.
You realize it'll be done as a stunt, Jamie. You realize it'll be done as a stunt, right?
Yeah.
But that was great to see her, and have her back in the family after she had to miss
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
But it's
said
probably
Ragnarok and roll, but that's something else.
It's probably better that she missed Ragnarok because they killed everybody. They killed the Warriors 3, and well,
of course, we don't know that she's alive anyway. because this was just a memory cell.
True, but rumor is she's supposed to appear in Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Of course, we don't know either. Maybe after, maybe there'll be a whole lot of formerly dead Asgardians back after the end of Loki. Maybe the timelines will crash and all kind of mayhem will ensue.
Okay, absolute. It's not going to happen, but a great way is if Loki changes the timeline, everything gets changed, and we end up with Matt Damon as Loki, Liam Hemsworth as Thor, and Sam O'Neill as Odin.
There you go. And Matt Damon Loki will be talking with Idun, and constantly be saying, "How about them apples?" In Greek or in Norse mythology, Idun was the goddess that tended the
golden apples.
Of immortality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just for any of the guests.
Knowledge can be dangerous, people.
Yeah.
The only downside on this version of the show is I don't have the mute button.
I like this version of the show.
I bet you do.
So,
right.
Yeah. What did you? I was a little surprised that merely the possibility of two Lokis kissing just overcame the apocalypse and shot that branch towards Red Line.
I will tell you that if it's just that, the whole lust thing between the two of them and them actually touching, and that's what did it,
yeah,
I'm going to be a little disappointed. Because there was so many other things they could have done that unless that's a major story element, that, two variants, physically in contact or something, then that just seems weak. Like I said, there was so many other possibilities that we were talking about last week. Loki took something that could be tracked by the TVA because he knew he was trying to help still, or the whole idea that it was one of them enchanting the other. I mean, there was so many other possible ways that seems kind of supper's ready to me.
Except that I think we're going to learn more about the why of it. We don't know enough. It's something to do with just two chaos elements crashing together in the midst of an apocalypse. Maybe that is what turns it up.
Yeah, chime in, JD.
Yeah.
JD, come on.
Oh, there we go. Oh, hey, hello. I was going to type it out, but when you said to come on, I thought you meant to come on with the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, birthday boy.
Yeah, it's my birthday present. Yes, I get to come on with the actual writers.
Happy birthday, JD.
Thank you very much.
Birthday.
Only 1,320 years old. Still look like,
So what's your theory? What's your theory, my friend?
1,003 years old.
Oh, yeah. My theory was just Sif. They wrote it in, her saying it over and over and over for a reason. It was like, you are alone and you always will be. That was his fate. And both of those Lokis finding each other and not being alone is causing the Nexus event.
Fair.
Okay, I could see that. So you're saying that the part of the sacred timeline is that Loki's supposed to end up alone, and two Lokis, and two Lokis finding each other is a serious breach of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me chime into your show. Enjoy. I'll recede back to the shadows.
Jump in on Dan anytime.
That's not a bad theory at all. I think that is a possibility.
Yeah. They did make quite a point of that.
Yeah. But I do think they absolutely need to put more meat on the bone there. I mean, it can't just be,
Sure.
yeah.
I think we're getting a bunch of big revelations, next episode. Because
God, I think we have to.
Yeah, with that mid credits scene.
Yeah, we only have
like,
2 episodes
wait,
left.
what?
Yeah.
And I actually thought there was a moment, jumping ahead, since we've fully spoiled, there was a moment where I thought, oh, they went really brave, and they've eliminated Hiddleston, and Sophie is gonna,
on Tuesday.
See, now you got me doing it.
Yeah.
Sylvie.
On Tuesday, I actually said, they could even kill off Tom Hiddleston's Loki. As long as by the end of the show we end up with a different Loki, just that's played by Tom Hiddleston, so we could end up with President Loki. So, and I wasn't thinking they were going to kill him, but I thought it was a possibility.
Yeah.
Miss Minutes has been absent the last 2 episodes. She has.
Yep.
And I pencil her in as the list of the person behind the curtain. There's a handful of people that I think story-wise makes sense to be behind the House of President, or the Vault of, what is it? The Presidents at Disneyland.
Hall
of Presidents. Behind the Hall of Presidents versions of the Timekeepers. That and I think Miss Minutes could be one of them. Or whoever is behind Miss Minutes.
Yeah.
Tara Strong could be the.
Yeah. I was surprised actually that Ravonna seemed to be as troubled and confused by the situation that was going on, because I had a hunch that she would be more clued in.
I didn't pick up that she was out of the loop. See, I still think that she's working with whoever's behind it. The TVA is a Chuck E. Cheese. Yes, it is. Absolutely. It's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. I was sad they didn't get a chance to sing for,
Yeah, I did find it interesting that one of the timekeepers was the Lorax.
Oh, yeah. But he was a green Lorax, not an orange Lorax.
He was, but,
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk.
He's the green Lorax who speaks for the cheese.
Yes. Okay, let's focus on the big events in this episode.
Yeah.
Mobius trying to figure things out. He gets told what's going on. He doesn't believe, but he finally kind of picks up on it, checks the record, or checks Ravonna's thing, and realizes it's all true, goes and gets Loki, and then they prune him as he calls out a desire for his jet ski.
Yeah, the jet ski came back. It's Chekhov's jet ski. But of course, we now have learned that pruning may not be quite as pruning as we thought it was. Is that just for Loki's?
Well, I'm starting to think that maybe. Well, the fact that the episode's called The Nexus Event, not Nexus Event or A Nexus Event, I think, and because of how it reacted, maybe Loki is a Nexus
being.
What is it? Nexus being.
Yeah.
And they can't be pruned from the timeline. Maybe when they're pruned, they're put in this other place where Mobius is just another variant, so he's gone.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing. Again, it's one of these things. If that Mobius is gone, maybe we'll meet another Mobius.
Yeah,
it might be like Dave. Maybe we'll meet the version that stayed a jet ski salesman, or whatever
By the way, I do love the fact that they haven't given us a wow yet, but there was that moment he goes, "How?" And it was so close. when he was talking about how C20 was killed, or C24.
Yeah.
And how?
No, C20.
C20, yeah.
Yeah. Were you thrown when B-15 was like,
come with me?
like, yeah, and the fact that she's like, I saw something, and yeah,
Oh yeah,
she
was.
she seems so straight down the line that I was shocked.
Yeah, and at first I was like, oh, we're not actually going to see her memories. And then when she came back, she went, I looked happy, and the tears in the rain. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that is so much better than actually giving us a happy moment.
Yeah,
we don't need it at that point. Whatever she saw affected her that much. Yes. That was really well done.
She saw star cruisers on the belt of Orion, or now I'm messing up the quote, but
from Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, people write in and complain to Dan that he had to complain to Dan.
It's the Tears in the Rain quote from
yeah.
Tannhauser's Gate.
There we go.
K beams glittering off in the dark off Tannhauser's Gate. Thank you, JD. See, that's why we have JD here, and it's so much better than when Kyle's here. You know, because JD stays awake, and that's really helpful.
I could see how that would be.
Yeah. Kyle just sleeps through all these. But
I love that. By the way, at least on my screen, the spoiler alert keeps hovering over my head.
Oh yeah, that's planned.
Yeah.
So, I think I agree with you that we're not done with Mobius, but that would, because it was just such a quick ending.
Yeah.
You know,
they had done the whole, we're friends thing.
Yep.
But yes, it's sort of like, all right, now we've learned what's going on. Let's go. Oh, my sidekick is just.
Yes, I just lost Robin. Yeah, that
a minute ago.
Yeah. I think when that happened, I kind of went, okay, all bets are off. Anything could happen at this point.
Yeah. And then not so long after, when Hiddleston goes, you go, oh no, the bets are further off than I thought.
Yeah. And I mean, they really did pull out all the stops in this episode. By the way, you've frozen in the most funny position. They really did pull out all the stops in this episode. And, every time I think, oh, this is how far they're going, boom. Oh, the timekeepers aren't real. Boom, B-15 has changed sides. Just one right after the other. This was not an episode that you could have predicted. Off the rails.
Well, the universe wants chaos.
And so did Michael Waldron and Kate Herron, it seems. Now, what did you think? Oh, have you seen the trailer with Mobius driving towards a pyramid? I have seen that, and I'm just going to throw one thought out there. The Hulk in Infinity War trailer. They digitally put the Hulk in, and he never appeared in the fight with Thanos in Wakanda. So that might have been a bait and switch. I don't think it is. I think we're going to get more Mobius.
Yeah,
but
it could have been a flashback for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We know there's no jet ski in that scene because there's no water there.
Yes. Get it? Mobius went kablooey? Huh? I know. Now you're going to be asking JD to mute me.
Okay, that's the other thing. That so far they've been saying we're not getting Kang. But with Kang, you get so many other versions you could have. Scarlet Centurion, Rama Tut, Immortus. So Rama Tut. And that's the whole thing, is that they can come in and say, Kang is not showing up in this series. Okay. Immortus is. Same guy. Same actor, probably. Rama Tut's showing up. Okay. And Rama Tut was the first one that showed up. So it is possible that Kang is behind the Timekeepers, or one of his other names, one of his other incarnations. Or it could be just a variant Loki who got there first.
I assume it's going to be some guy in a green cloak, and we'll just get a glimpse of an armored face.
Or it could be He Who Remains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because,
or it could be Mephisto.
Yeah. Oh, Mephisto will show up before the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes. Well, we did have that devil stained glass window.
Yeah.
They all swear it wasn't Mephisto, but we know.
Yeah.
What did you think of the design of the Timekeepers?
I thought it was, because they did look slightly more like space lizards, but not entirely. I just thought it was funny because Hiddleston Loki kept saying space lizards, and it's like, they didn't ever look that lizardy to me. But yeah, I liked it, and I liked how quickly, I love that Sylvia's like, androids. I'm like, no, they're animatronics.
Yes, because that's the era the TVA's in. All the stuff is from the 70s, so animatronics would make sense.
Yeah.
What did you think of the design behind them on the wall?
Do you feel like it might have been hold clues for us?
Well, my thought, and someone else actually brought this up too, but I was thinking it sure looked like one of the runes that Agatha was using in her little room, and then Wanda used around the hex to prevent somebody using magic. And no one can use magic at the TVA.
Right. So you're saying it was Agatha all along?
I think it might have been runes, but sure. Brian says the non-Lorax one reminded me of Stetler and Waldorf. Why were they laughing when the other guy got his head chopped off?
I think that because they were animatronics, whoever actually was running them was laughing, and they just, are programmed to speak with the sound.
That makes sense.
So it's whoever was like, ha ha ha, you thought you discovered, the true menace, but I am behind that curtain. Oops. So,
okay.
But that's what I figured, was that it was actually the person operating the timekeepers that was laughing.
It's a good possibility. Okay, we've hit the halfway point, and what we don't do on Pop Go the Writers, but we do here, are commercials. We take a halfway break, so JD, if you will, take us away to our quick break, and we'll be right back.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We're doing a spoiler review and discussion on the fourth episode of Loki. But before we do that, Paul, did you get to see the commercials during the break?
I did.
I don't know about you, but the Post-it note one, that's impressive because Kyle's the one that actually did that with actually writing all those words out. I would have absolutely had to jam the last couple letters on some of those words in, and he had it all spaced.
Celebration came close.
It did, but he got it in.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
I was impressed by that.
I don't know how many takes they did.
Well, he swears one.
Really? Well then,
yeah.
Well done, Kyle.
Yes. Yeah, he might be lying, but he swears one. Yeah. All right, before we get
the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Before we get started, JD, will you run our spoiler graphic again? Because I love that. I feel like someone took the time to.
I feel like I should do movie sign.
Yeah. Either that or go the opposite ways, like on the Enterprise.
Yeah. Well, there's artificial gravity, so it's misfiring. That's what's happening. Some are being told one way, some the other.
So let's get to the big moment of the show. Well, what seemed like it was going to be the big moment of the show.
Yeah. Loki
is about to confess love, lust, something to Sylvie.
Self-esteem?
Something, but and then gets jabbed in the back with the time stick by Ravonna. And he's gone. For me, that was like, oh my God, they actually did that. What the hell?
My first, they can't do that. It was just, yet another, they just boom, 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 kept hitting you with stuff that you did not expect. Yeah. I was so impressed with that. My first thought, you can't do that. It's his show.
Yeah.
And how could you keep that secret?
Yeah. But, well, I mean, Hiddleston did say he couldn't wait to for people to see episodes 5 and 6. Well, that's because he's not in it. I mean, that was my first thought. He's like, yeah, because I want to see it too. I haven't seen it. I wasn't in it. Yeah. But yeah, that brought the whole episode.
Yeah.
It's like what? And then she's threatening at the end, and then the credits roll. And I'm like, they really did that. And I don't know why I was certain I had to stay through the credits on this one, because they haven't done an end credit scene this early on any of the shows.
Yeah.
It was episode 8 on WandaVision, so it was the second to last. It was only on episode 6 of or did we get one on 5? No.
Didn't we get the shield on 5? John Walker building the shield?
Right, on episode 5. Yeah. So I really didn't expect one on episode 4.
Yeah.
But I stayed anyway, and I think it was more out of shock.
That was what I was going to say. I was just like...
I think everyone...
It's like that Nathan Fillion gif.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we do get that scene, and suddenly it's Loki, it's like, okay, he's alive. Okay. Oh, that voice. That sounds like Richard E. Grant. We're finally getting, okay, cool. Why is there an alligator?
Why? At first, I just thought it was like Kid Loki has a pet alligator. And it took me a second to realize it also had
his own horns, yeah.
But boy, Richard E. Grant in just about comic perfect Loki costume. And it's just like, wow. Although I will say again, I liked it. I think that they worked a little too hard to make it seem a little hokey. Because I find that anytime they do a comics accurate costume, they just tweak it a little because they're always saying, well, you can't possibly do a comics accurate one.
Yeah, so they don't want to be perfect. The only problem is that the comic accurate Scarlet Witch costume that she wore on Halloween in WandaVision was gorgeous. Well, she looked great.
Yeah, pretty much the only kind of goofy part was the
tie, yeah.
Tie, yeah. But
yeah,
not so much the Vision costume.
No, that was horrible. What Richard E. Grant reminded me of Sunday at Comic-Con. Sunday night, there's 20 minutes left from the show, and you've got this cosplayer comes up to your table. He's exhausted. He's making his final purchases. He just wants to go home. He's been in the costume for like 3 days straight. He knows he smells, and it's like, and that's what Richard E. Grant looked like. You know?
He's been around the timeline a few circuits.
Yes, yeah.
Because
it wasn't like a close fitting, or the other guys looked great. They, the boastful Thor is what they're calling the guy with the hammer, and
right.
Kid Thor. They didn't put the alligator in the credits. I was a little disappointed by that.
Yeah.
They could have given him the thing. Maybe that was the alligator talking, not Richard E. Grant.
Could be. Maybe they have the same voice.
Yeah, because they did talk. It was off panel or off screen, the dialogue. But
what I really would love is if the alligator did sound exactly like Hiddleston, because he'd just be like, the Hiddleston Loki looking at an alligator that talks exactly like me just seems like it would be funny.
Yeah. For some reason, I want it to be Al Pacino.
Yeah, this is the big.
This is the big cameo they've been talking about for him.
And then in the big climax, at some point, he'll go, wow.
Yep. And they called him Al, short for alligator.
There you go.
I would be down for that. I think that would have been awesome.
You're a crazy man.
I was fascinated by the tower in the back.
You mean the Avengers Tower in the back?
Well, that's the thing, is it's kind of hard to tell based on the tower when exactly that they're in. Because if you really look at the tower, my first thought was, well, that's Stark Tower right after the Battle of New York.
Yeah.
It's not Avengers Tower yet.
Yeah.
But then I saw someone compared it to the Stark Tower and then Avengers Tower, and then there's this landing area for Quinjets that gets put in later, and it's there. Yeah. So this is obviously not after the Battle of New York. It's later on, but it's before Spider-Man Far From Home when they move out, or maybe it's after that, and it's now the Baxter Building or Oscorp or whoever ended up buying it.
Well, maybe it's maybe Ultron succeeded in that timeline, and so that's where they send them, where all the killer robots are.
That could be it.
So
yep. Yeah. I'm going to back up here and ask you a question. If their whole purpose was to bring the two of them in to delete them, why didn't they just leave them on the planet that was about to be destroyed?
Because the diversion, what do they call it? The branch.
Yeah, the Nexus
was that close to the red line. It was going so fast that maybe it would have hit the red line before they were killed, and then alternate timeline. Full on.
Good answer. So, I like that.
Because it was really moving fast, like faster than we've ever seen any of them grow.
Yeah. I would also have accepted they wanted to find out why it was doing that.
Yeah, which I think they actually said. They were like, we don't know why, we've never seen one go like that. And,
yeah.
Or, maybe they're just cock blockers.
Yeah. Oh God. If they had been left alone for a few more minutes, what could have happened?
Yeah. Yes. Well, they're both very mischievous.
True. True.
Um,
Yeah. I like how Mobius even calls him out on that being the most narcissistic thing ever.
that was it's like you fell in love with yourself.
All right.
Hey,
So
let's be fair to the guy. You know, wouldn't you fall in love if you're with yourself if you looked like that and were like smart and yeah. I mean, come on. He's only Asgardian.
yeah. Actually, is he Asgardian?
Well, I thought he was half Asgardian.
Well, yeah. We really don't know who his mother is.
Yeah, yeah,
We know the Frost Giant is his father. Laufey's his
yeah,
father, but we don't know who his mother is.
yeah, yeah. And there was a lot of in the Norse myth. There was a lot of giants and Asgardians, um, and of course the whole frost giant versus other kinds of giant is very difficult to figure uh, in the mythology. What exactly makes a giant a giant?
Yeah.
Why is it a Jotun instead of so?
I do notice that when we get to stuff like Greek mythology, Norse mythology, all the fun mythologies that we learn, even though nobody really considers them religions anymore, and they're all woohoo, we're screwing everybody. And then we go over to the ones that still are religions, and they're very chaste. Not much is going on. There's usually a guy going, "Hey, if you cut your son in half, I'm good." But
Or hey, if you burn your son on an altar, psych.
yeah. But
Uh,
but all of the fun party ones become mythologies.
yeah. Well, we may be straying into dangerous ground here. Um, but yeah. Well, hey, maybe we've got some fun ones making a comeback. There's a lot more sex positivity these days.
That is true. That is absolutely true. And the funny thing is that I have no problem with the idea of Loki being gender fluid because I've read Norse mythology, and yeah, he was doing anything.
He got pregnant
A horse.
and gave birth. Yeah, he got pregnant from a horse and gave birth to in Norse mythology, Hela, the Midgard serpent, and Fenris wolf.
And Odin's six-legged horse.
Oh yes, sleep or is it 6 or 8? I think it's 8-legged.
I thought it was 6. JD,
Well,
can you count the horse's legs, please?
just tell it to stop for a bit because it's really fast on 8 legs.
It's funny as I wrote a story recently with that in it for a friend of mine's Kickstarter, and now I can't remember.
Very sad, Dan. Very sad.
It was during the pandemic, nothing really stuck.
Is an 8-legged horse. Sleipnir is an 8-legged horse ridden by Odin.
Okay. You had a leg up on me there.
Yep. Couple of them.
Absolutely.
Yes, Loki, anybody who's been out of shape about that should get bent because yeah, the source material dictates it.
Yeah. Do you think that the boastful Loki is carrying a version of Mjolnir?
Mjolnir, you're absolutely correct. And now that I know how to pronounce it, I make a point of being a jerk about it. Mjolnir.
Meow meow.
Yeah. Hi, Miss Darcy. When is Darcy coming back?
I know.
Which is weird because I found her irritating in the original Thor.
So do I need to say it Mjolnir all the time? Mjolnir. Today's class, we're teaching you how to say words you're probably never going to need to say outside of a geek conversation.
But yes, that one, I was not familiar with Boastful Thor.
Me neither.
Apparently, there is a version from the comics where Loki was momentarily able to lift Mew Mew. But I was not familiar with them, and I was kind of like, wait, is that alternate reality Thor? But apparently it's a Loki.
Yeah. The hammer does look like a piece of train railing or rail track.
Yeah,
with a piston or something on the bottom of it.
Yeah. There were big rivets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to know everything about all these characters.
I know. Maybe that's steampunk Loki.
Yeah.
Worthy Loki. I think he's called Worthy Loki in the comics, or I saw something about that.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he was worthy to lift the and I want to know about the adventures of Little Loki and his gator. Like a Richie Rich comic with Norse elements.
Yeah. Or the adventure of Alligator Loki and his sidekick, Kid Loki.
Yeah.
I want to know why Richard E. Grant's character just looks so tired.
Well, we don't know how old Richard E. Grant's character is supposed to be.
True.
Our Loki is only like a couple millennia old, supposedly.
Yeah.
Maybe Richard E. Grant's Loki is, 10,000, 100,000 years old or something. Depending on how far forward his timeline was.
Possible. I think Brian's just trying to get us to say tough words. Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Or as
Worcestershire Shaws.
As Guy Fieri says, wash your sister sauce. It showed up on his show one time. Somebody said it, and he uses it ever since. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. So, Paul, what are we getting next episode?
Answers.
I knew you were going to.
I think next episode is the information episode, and I think after that, and I'm curious to see if we'll see if suddenly Sylvie will appear in Loki world. But I think we'll get more information. I think that the people on, as I'm calling it, Loki world, that they'll explain more or less how they got sent here, and maybe we'll get some clues as to the big bad. And I think episode 6 is going to be let's all go crush the time variance story.
Team Loki.
Yes, Team Loki crushes the time variance authority. So, how about you? What are you seeing?
I think you're right about it going to be answers, but I think we're not going to get as many as we want.
Oh no, not at all.
I think we're going to get I think we'll get a little bit action, a little bit more. I mean, there's so many things we need to know. First thing, why does he need to go with him if he wants to live? What is in that world that's dangerous to them?
Ultrons.
And that's a possibility. There's a lot of possibilities. Zombie Lokis. I like that one, JD.
Yeah.
And Brian says it could be Limbo. That could be too. Maybe, like I said, maybe he's a Nexus being and he can't be eliminated, and all of those. And maybe there is multiple timelines, and this is just Limbo for all of them.
Yeah. Hey.
Or this is the one timeline they sacrificed.
So Limbo would make sense.
It would. And at some point, we need to see Mobius driving through the desert in a Jeep.
On a jet ski.
We do need him on a jet ski.
Yeah.
I think everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need him on a jet ski. By the way, did you notice that the little girl playing
Young
Sylvie is the same little girl that played young Rey in Rise of Skywalker?
I didn't know that.
Not Rise of Skywalker. In the trilogy,
the Force
and
Awakens.
played and was in Walking Dead.
Now that I did not know.
Yeah, that girl's got a better resume than most of the actors I know.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of like the gal that played the young queen in she was the Lady Mormont. Yes, Lady Mormont in Game of Thrones. She's like, everybody's like, she's awesome. Give her more work.
Yeah.
Obviously this gal got that same thing. So hopefully we'll be taking better care of our younger actors in the future.
Not like poor Joffrey, who got so ridiculed and stuff. And all of the universes are part of her daydream. She is the new Tommy Westfall. Wow, another. People keep going to the whole snow globe at the end of St. Elsewhere reference.
Which weirdly, it was a snow globe that's the one in Ravona's study or office is a snow globe from San Diego.
Yes, where they do a lot of jet skiing.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I assume I think we have an elite military unit that probably does, jet ski rescues.
I would say, definitely the SEALs use jet skis.
Yeah. Ask Michael Bean.
Yep. All right. So who's your guess behind the timekeepers? Who's the big bad?
At this point, although they've said there's, we're not, they said that we're not going to see Kang, because I think it's Kang, but maybe some iteration of Kang, or I suppose talking before, another Loki who's trying to get rid of all the other Lokis. What's your bet at this point?
I still think it's a version of Kang.
Yeah.
Maybe a Mortis who actually worked with the timekeepers in the comics. I think it's still going to be Jonathan Majors. I think another possibility would be the classic Loki, and then he's just playing everybody.
That's why he's so tired. He's been keeping the plate spinning for so long.
Absolutely. Or it could be just a time loop that, somebody went back in time, the timekeepers went back in, or Ravonna goes back in time to create the timekeepers, and then they do the whole thing, and then it's just a loop where nobody actually creates them because they're created by themselves. It's a bureaucracy that just feeds a bureaucracy.
Mm. That is painfully reflective of the real world.
Yep. Or it could be Miss Minutes, but I'm leaning towards Kang, or a version of Kang, because I think he's gonna be the big bad. We're gonna get him here. We'll get him in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then he'll grow out of that into the big bad going forward.
Yeah, and I think Miss Minutes is definitely going to be a key part of it. But I think, again, because they were like, "Are you a program or are you alive?" And she was like, a little bit of both. So I think we may see, that she's maybe she's an algorithm.
I think she's a bit like the episode of Blink in Doctor Who, where since they can see the entire timeline, they know the questions he's going to ask. So they programmed her to answer the questions that he's going to ask, because they already know what he's going to ask, but as it's happening. Yeah. All right, folks, I'd like to see
Tara Strong before the whole thing is done, though.
So would I. Absolutely. All right, folks, that is the show for tonight. We're going to be wrapping it up. Again, I'm not here next week, but the show will be here with all new episodes pre-recorded. Bobby Nash interview on Tuesday, Emily McGinnis and Dan Bridges on Wednesday, America's Tom Zoller on Thursday, Philip Sevi on a special episode on Friday, and then another Pop Go the Writers will be replayed on the following Saturday. So you got Jamal Eigel this Saturday. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. There's going to be some special stuff going on over the weekend for 4th of July, like Paul's hat, celebrating American independence. And thank you all. Remember to follow us at thecomicshoppingexperience.com on our mailing list and on Instagram and TikTok on _EXP1. So thank you, JD. Thanks for running the board. Brian, thanks for joining us. Everybody have a good night and a great weekend, and I'll see you in a little over a week.
Thanks
good night.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.